Hey guys, welcome back to TTMR. We're back with me and Sean, and today we will be reviewing episode 4 of Marvel's Moon Knight, titled The Tomb. This episode picks up right where the last one ended. Steven, now unconscious, is getting rolled down a hill due to a truck of men shooting at him and Layla. In this scene, we get to see just how tactical Layla is. Noticing how there's an open ammo crate on the truck, she sneaks behind them and throws a flare on it, causing it to ignite. Steven awakes after this, and he and Layla move forward towards Amit's tomb. They get to the site and look around for items they need. Before they enter, Steven and Layla share a kiss, as we've seen subtle hints that Steven likes Layla in past episodes. After the kiss, they enter, both of them fascinated with what they're seeing. They start talking about where they would find the actual body, until Steven realizes that the whole structure they're within is built in the shape of the Eye of Horus. They come to the conclusion that the body would have been the tongue of the symbol. This is because the avatar would have been the voice of Amit. They start their travel down the tomb until they stumble across fresh blood. Steven climbs up to find an exit while Layla stays down below looking at everything down there, until they hear screams and gunshots. A man is then dragged in, clinging to his life, when this reanimated priest mummy kills him. This mummy then attacks our main characters. Steven gets away as Layla gets chased down, and eventually, Layla escaped. Or so she thought. She gets dragged into the dark by the mummy until she reemerges with the mummy's severed arm in her hand. Layla then ends up killing the mummy, but barely surviving herself. Harrow shows up and spouts his villainous exposition. And within this exposition, he tells Layla that Mark killed her father. With Layla now distraught, we cut back to Steven as he has retrieved the statue of Amit. Layla walks in and starts yelling to talk to Mark. Mark takes control and tells Layla that they have to escape now, but they don't make it out in time. Layla hides while Mark tries to take on Harrow and his men. Mark manages to kill a few of them, but then Harrow shoots him, not only once, but twice. Mark falls into the water below as we fade to black. We then see a movie start to play. This isn't important until the last scene, where a boy says, "You are Dr. Stephen Grant." We then cut to a very out-of-it Mark as he lies in a wheelchair. We get a good look at this place he's in, seeing more people sitting at tables, drawing, watching movies, etc. We get to see Layla, but she's working as a nurse. When Mark finally gets up, we see him talk to Arthur Harrow, who is running the place. As Mark tries to grasp what's happening, Harrow says, "I can't help you if you can't help yourself." The same thing he said to Mark after shooting him, and Mark remembers that. He gets up and tries to escape, yelling and screaming for Harrow to leave him alone. Two guards then come in to restrain Mark. We see Mark beat them up and then run down a hall to escape. He loses the guards as he sneaks into a room. Within this room lies a coffin, and we hear someone screaming and banging from the inside. We see Mark open it, only to find Steven. The two are separate now. They also see another coffin, which they choose to ignore in favor of escaping. Recalling how Steven was in the other coffin, however, this coffin most likely holds Jake Lockley, the third personality of Mark. Back to Mark and Steven, they then try and flee this place until they are met by a huge hippo lady. The episode ends with the two screaming, and quite frankly, I feel the same way.
I am obsessed with this episode for reasons that differ from the other episodes. Yes, I do love all the other episodes for the character development and awesome scenes, but when I try to think of this episode, all I'm left with are the final 20 minutes. Having Mark in this place is so weird to see and certainly confusing to take in on the first watch. This end section is completely different from that of the other episodes, and in fact it completely flips all of what has happened already on its head. Seeing Steven and Mark as separate people now with different bodies is so completely insane that it begs the question, has everything up to this point been some sort of dream? Of course, Max agrees, as do I, that it would be much better if this show kept the previous episodes as real, simply because of how good they were at not only progressing the plot, but the characters as well. And it would be a shame to see that all go to waste. However, the episode did perhaps end with the best cliffhanger by far, since it is still unclear as to what's even happening or what this is going to lead to in the future of this show.
Again, this episode is perfect, man. It's the best by far. The character development, setting, and music for this episode are absolutely top notch. The visuals in this episode are crazy too. My main love for this episode comes from that twist ending. Personally, I feel like this is all in Mark's head. My reasoning for this is, in ancient Egypt, they thought rivers and other moving bodies of water were a passageway to the afterlife. And after Mark gets shot, we see him fall into the water as he's dying. All of what we see at the end could just be like Mark's own purgatory as he's dying.
To wrap everything up, a lot of important things have happened in this episode, such as Mark being shot and dying, as well as the whole sequence of Mark being trapped in a completely new place, with people and items being linked to what we have already seen in previous episodes. For example, there are of course the people such as Layla and Arthur, even in Mark still existing as unique personalities, even more separated now however, the cane that Arthur had in his room, and the familiar way that he sat. All of this combined leads to Mark recalling that Arthur shot him, which may or may not have actually happened, and we are left with the question on whether all of this has actually been in his head, the whole time. Then there is Taweret, the hippo goddess of protection that we see at the end of the episode, and how she may be protecting Stephen and Mark in purgatory before they move on and finally die, since the chaos in him has led to a longer judgment, similar to what we see in episode 1, when Arthur tries to judge Stephen but is unable to get a clear answer because of the chaos that is in him. Anyways, that has been our review of the 4th episode of Moon Knight. Remember that this is just our opinion, so you don't necessarily have to believe everything that is said here.
We hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and if you enjoyed, you could like or subscribe to help us out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.